Welcome to the X Block.
Am I right, Marine? Sir, yes, sir! Then listen up.
You're listening to the X Block. I'm Jared. He's Caleb. Let's get into it.
You are listening to an X Block podcast special, the news from the future. I'm Jaren, and I'm here with Caleb.
Hey,
and this is the Galaxy's #1 Xbox podcast.
Officially, we did it. 3 weeks ago, we surpassed Larry Herb and Xbox 8, the sequels from Xbox 2 podcast, as well as Defining Duke and all the others. And Xbox gave us a stamp of approval, and here we are.
Yeah, unlimited Game Pass for life.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited, man. On all my platforms, all 9 of them.
What have you been playing, Caleb?
Oh, what have I been playing this week? Well, you know me, Jared. Halo Infinite Chinese Edition. Just... Dude, I am so close to having all the achievements in that game, dog. I perfected Halo Infinite, 20 years ago. But now, dude, I hit up the boys on True Achievements, bro. I hit up the boys on True Achievements and got me a copy of the Chinese Halo Infinite Edition. And so with its own separate achievement list, and I am so close to being done. All the achievements they added, though, taken a while. And the multiplayer, dead. So I got to hit up the boys on True Achievements. But, it's been pretty fun, Story's good. Multiplayer, I haven't had a chance to play it, but I assume it's still great. And that's pretty much all I've been playing in the past week, dude. I've been busy, man. Fucking 48-year-old man.
Yeah, dude. It's rough. It's rough out here playing games.
Yeah, what have you been playing, dog?
Dude, I've been loading up my PC, torrenting those games. It's allowed now, legally.
Oh, okay.
And, PlayStation finally throwing up the Jack and Daxter collection.
Yeah, dude. It's
on
great.
The PC. Dude, loving it. Played all 3 of them. Had a blast. Yeah,
remastered graphics is actually a pretty good feature of it. And the fact that they actually have backwards compatibility available, and now they're actually starting going back to remaster their initial games is... And Naughty Dog's actually doing it, which is actually a bold move by them, considering they're still working on the next Last of Us HBO season, like part 9 or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool, man. You enjoying it?
Oh yeah, dude. It's like a blast from the past. I feel like I'm a child again.
Yeah, I feel like we're back and we recorded episode 20 of the X Block or whatever, dude.
Yeah,
it's
dude,
crazy.
Again, wild. Remember when this podcast began and we were tiny and now we're enormous, overweight, but successful?
I'm still tiny, Jaron. I don't know what happened to you, but I'm still tiny.
I guess we should move into Outside the Box.
I'm thinking outside the box,
where we cover all the news you need to know outside the Xbox community.
I fucking love our retro theme, dude. Shout out to Ed, man. Rip in peace, man. Never forget.
The only topic on the docket, because of how absolutely massive it is, Disney has finally bought Sony. The mouse, he had bought up everything else. Warner Brothers basically completed the film industry. Now turning his sights to the game industry, buying up that Sony and all their IPs.
Yeah, man. And you wrote in our doc, the mouse is sinking his teeth into someone else, which is pretty verbose, but
Yeah, dude. It's almost like we could have seen it coming, after the Vita 2 came out. That was kind of a bomb.
That shit sucked. What the fuck, man? They didn't have any triggers.
They went full touchscreen with it because they saw what Xbox was doing with touch controls on the phone and Game Pass and how that was so successful. But for people who actually wanted a actual handheld gaming console, they had to go with the Steam Deck 360 version that they made or the Nintendo Switch 4 that they came out with. Both of those huge successful consoles, but the PlayStation Vita 2, some would say 20 years late, but somehow still earlier than it needed to be.
Yeah, dude, it makes sense because since Sony's market cap, it's lower than it was in fucking 2023, dude. It's sitting at $280 million, total market cap. And fucking Disney, as a $19 trillion corporation, you're yeah, dude, that makes sense. Might as well get those Spider-Man rights back, for the Miles Morales sequels and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, they kept trying to buy them back from Sony, but Sony would just not give in, no matter how much it would have saved their business.
Yeah, they're really fucking tanked, man, in recent years. That's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like this all started back when they delayed God of War Ragnarok for the 4-year hiatus because they announced that game so early, and then it eventually came out, but people just weren't as excited anymore.
No, it wasn't as good as the original God of War from 2018. And
I didn't even think that was good.
I guess overall for the news, this is pretty good for Disney because they can actually put all of Sony's backlog on their streaming service and part of Disney Plus Plus. And so it's actually a pretty good deal for them in terms of growing their own gaming avenue, just like Netflix did back in the 2020s and shit. It's pretty smart.
Yeah, dude, remember when Netflix was around?
Yeah, fucking Netflix, dude. Shout out to the past, bro.
That was before all the companies just started their own streaming services, and then Netflix only had their original content, and people decided they weren't really into Stranger Things after season 13.
Well, The Witcher ended up being pretty good. That's probably their best show, honestly.
That's true.
It took like fucking 15 years to end, but like Henry Cavill, man, he did it.
He did.
Yeah.
That was a great show. That was their last like hurrah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, it was worth it wasn't worth the wait, but it was good. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like it got a little testy at the end there when they were charging like $45 a month.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit egregious for people working a minimum wage job of fucking $30 an hour. Like, goddamn, dude.
Yeah, especially since they replaced most of those jobs with all the robots.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's
but
just
yeah.
like unsustainable.
Sony's AI software too for reading facial features as you're looking at your holographic display. It's pretty useful for Netflix gathering data Disney gathering data for its own Disney Plus streaming service. It's kind of a whole good deal for them, man. And Sony, like, good riddance. They haven't been relevant in like 10 years, so who cares?
Yeah, it's true. Just the issue, like the streaming wars came, and by the time they started, Microsoft owned everything.
Yeah, for real. It's like it was useless. And then just the Vita 2 just fucking tanked shit.
Yeah. Well, don't want to spend too much time on Sony. People
They're not
don't
really
care about
relevant.
that anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not relevant. But it's pretty big news.
We might as well move into the X Block.
It's like the fucking 3,000th time I've done that. Shit's annoying as hell. I hate you.
The biggest, I don't know if it's the biggest news, but it's definitely the most fun news. Phil Spencer's son, Phil Jr., has filled his position as head of Microsoft.
Yeah, man. It's fucking good times, dude. Old Phil passed away like 4 years ago. Rip in peace. Never forget. Had a good rise after Satya Nadella took over, head of Microsoft, everybody knows, and really fucking pulled the platform ahead in the world's leading eyes ahead of Apple and everyone else in terms of its cloud technology and how that was able to innovate on artificial intelligence and the current fucking robot system we got going on now. So current market cap sitting at $48 trillion, well ahead of everyone else, except for ExxonMobil still somehow. But his son, dude, Phil Jr., he did a good job as like, when he was like initially leading, he took over from 343 Industries and kind of worked on Halo Infinite 2 and all that shit and kind of just worked his way up the gaming ladder. And now he's finally, after being vice president of Microsoft operations, now head of Microsoft.
Yeah, the future's bright. I feel like their biggest success story is that they've managed to keep the same people in charge. So we've kept kind of this consumer forward-facing kind of appeal from Microsoft when it comes to their game division.
Yeah. After you had Matt Booty and his son Todd Booty.
Yeah. It's weird that such a huge company became such a family business.
Yeah, the Phil dynasty just out here rolling. Fucking pretty much owns Seattle at this point.
Yeah. I don't know. It's still a good time to be an Xbox person,
Yeah, it just looks like the fucking like consumer friendly approach and like all the Game Pass offers and like every aspect of our life now for such a fucking obscene value is just going to continue for the next however long when you and I die in fucking 10 years.
Yeah, it's like they really proved that you can make a shitload of money if stuff's cheap. You just have to get almost everybody on board.
Yeah, which apparently they did. And we have more of that news for Game Pass kind of moving up later in the doc as well. But, shout out to Phil Jr., dude.
Dude, congratulations on your new position. Yep. Hopefully you reach out to us. We've had good communication with Microsoft as of the last few years, and we hope to sit down and talk to you, maybe have you on the podcast.
Yeah, have you? Yeah, well, I love talking to Phil back when we did that, but I would love to have Phil Jr. on to kind of talk about what he kind of expects from this new role, like how he wants to direct Microsoft. But we assume from Phil Jr.'s past that it's probably pretty straightforward, consumer friendly, same, what is it, acting as is, What is it?
Yeah.
Business as is. Yeah, there you go.
The status quo.
There you go. I was stumbling a bit, but you saved me. There you go.
Well, moving on, the Game Pass division. We were talking about this recently. It's run out of games to remaster. We were saying they got to Conquer.
Yeah.
They got to Perfect Dark, the sequel. They even went back to like Banjo-Kazooie. They were busting out some like things that had never even been realized, like Everwild.
Already remastered fucking Halo 3.
Yeah, they were bringing back games that had been remastered. They were remastering them again. But somebody had a genius idea, or I don't know, maybe a terrible idea, but I guess we'll find out. And they decided to revive the dead corpse of Scalebound.
The fuck? I remember Scalebound, but like explain it to me because I forgot what the fuck that is.
That was that weird game from what was that studio called? Was it Platinum? Was it Platinum Games? Is that what they were called?
Is this an Xbox game that they canceled?
Yeah. It was some Xbox game, like very beginning of was it the Xbox was it even the Series X? It might have been the Xbox One, but
it was around there. Was it the 2010s or whatever? Something around there?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Old
they announced
fuck.
That Dragon game with like
I remember
the
that.
guy
Was
with
it
the headphones.
Was it the Japanese studio who was doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking Scalebound. Yo. That's one of the games that Phil had to cancel because it sucked, that thing.
Yeah, and you know Phil canceled something that it had to be bad because he was all about support.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. They're bringing back Scalebound. Hell yeah.
Dude, does anyone want this?
No, no one wants this. This game's old as fuck, dude. My kid wasn't even alive. Scalebound came out. This shit's stupid. I mean, I do need something to play, but like, I don't know. Can they make it? Do you think they can make it actually good?
I don't know, dude.
What even
it's just
is
like,
it?
I feel like with the monthly releases that they've kind of changed to, where we basically get a new game every month, the Game Pass division part of Xbox has just been like grasping at straws. But I guess when you make 12 games a year, you need to have a couple duds. But like recently, it's been a little either way. Like I feel like we've been hitting 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, they need something to start competing with, Disney Plus's service and shit. I guess Scalebound may be the next big thing that they're going to try to bring back, but I guess it'll look way better than it was running on like a fucking engine back in the day. And now we're actually going to have like real life models and shit directly transported into the world and all that. It's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I don't know if it'll like rival the Lord of the Rings dragons that we've seen in those games, but
Yeah.
I
was a bit on the fence when we first started talking about this, but as I've thought about it, I do like high fantasy games, but perhaps this IP was canceled for a reason. Like Phil is usually not wrong about anything ever. So
all right, well, moving on. Fallout 6 finally has a release date, Caleb.
Hell yeah, dude. It's been so long.
Dude, it's like, remember way back in the day, we had Fallout 76. Then we had Fallout 77, which was somehow even worse than Fallout 76. They handed that off to Bethesda Austin.
Even Microsoft couldn't say Fallout 77. Even they couldn't do it.
Dude, that game was terrible. They really should not have given that to Bethesda Austin. And then Bethesda Austin outsourced it to like someone else to help them finish it.
Yeah. It didn't even turn out like you thought Microsoft's money behind it and like a little bit of direction from like Matt Booty at the time and all that shit would fix it. No, it didn't. It didn't fix it. It turned out just as bad as Fallout 76 when it came out, or worse.
Yeah, and then we didn't even really get Elder Scrolls till what was it? Like Elder Scrolls 6? What was it to like?
That Elder Scrolls 6 came out in
2025 or is it even later than that?
No, it was like 2026 or some shit. It was like way late. Yeah, it was yeah. And then it took them since they tried to save Fallout fucking 77, it took them till 2032 to come out with Fallout 5. And then obviously the IP's been dormant for like a long time, but I mean, now that we have a release date, dude, it's coming. Like everyone get hype. And you all know
Fallout 5.
Yeah, Fallout 5 was all right. I mean, it was better than Fallout 4 from what I remember from that game so fucking long ago. And it's definitely, it's actually a game, unlike Fallout 77. So that's kind of cool. Hopefully Fallout 6, led by Todd Howard Jr., I believe is the creative director on that game. Hopefully it turns out.
I thought he dropped the Howard because of the divorce.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good call. Yeah. That's a good point. So Todd Jr.
And now, moving on to the last topic, Game Pass, Caleb, has hit 500 million subs.
Hell yeah, dude. 500 million. And it only took decades, but, it's pretty much the prevailing gaming platform. After Netflix kind of dropped out. And then we already talked about how Disney bought Sony, so they're going to start implementing some of their old IP from that fucking dead-ass company into their own streaming service. And then it's basically Disney and Microsoft at this point. And Game Pass is out there rolling in it.
Yeah, it's crazy that Disney kind of had to almost move out of the States and kind of deal with the rest of the world just because of the sheer adoption rate in America of Game Pass. It's something like 80% of Americans have a Game Pass subscription.
Yeah, but the Europeans are kind of jumping on it a bit. If you've looked at Disney's numbers recently, I think they have like their audience skews like at least 20% European, which is pretty high relative to like the just drastic Asian population count they have from India and China, now that China's a bit more open with gaming. So
yeah. It's a wild world out there. Like we've come down to like two companies, and I know everyone was hating on that way back in the day. They were like, man, two companies are going to buy everything and it's going to be terrible. But both companies are kind of just, you can subscribe to both for relatively an inexpensive price.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer Game Pass, but like Disney's got some good shit in there with all their fucking Marvel stuff going on. And since they bought DC and everything, it's pretty great.
And since there's only two companies, like if you can't afford one or the other, they don't even really pursue piracy stuff anymore because of how much money they make.
Yeah, Netflix is or not Netflix, sorry. Nintendo's pretty much doing its own goddamn thing, fucking with real estate in Japan. Already literally owns half of Japan at this point, so it's doing its own thing over there. But yeah, Disney and Microsoft competing for, I guess Disney wants to make a comeback for the North American market, but I think Game Pass with 500 million subs, it's just like growing. It grew literally 2 million subscribers in the last fucking year, so I don't know.
Yeah, you feel like it's just cemented at this point.
Yeah, it hit a bit of a saturation point there, but it's just still steadily been growing, and here we are at 500 million subs, dude. Shit's hype.
Yep, it's a successful world that Microsoft is living in right now.
Yo, Jared, more money into Scalebound.
I cannot understand if that game's gonna work or not.
I don't even remember it.
Now, hopping into the X Factor discussion, I figured I'd hit you with a bit of a funny one here, Caleb.
Okay, go ahead, man. What is the X Factor discussion?
With Disney now buying Sony, I want to know if Microsoft should try to get the exclusivity deal for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 10.
Okay, and that's an interesting question, given that the series is still going, but what kind of led you to think that Microsoft should try to get the exclusivity for that?
I was thinking, with their like heavy saturation in America, maybe they'd want to try to just take a stab at some of the Asian market. Like, I know
they've tried
done
for decades, Sharon.
I
People
know.
don't care over there.
But it's because they haven't been able to buy the Japanese studios. And the whole reason, I guess they could, but the whole Japanese studios, the only ones that are left are Square Enix. And that's because nobody sees it as financially beneficial to buy them. Every time they have a good year, they lose $30 million the next year.
Yeah, it's exactly how they've been doing for literally forever.
So you just kind of got to make a deal with them. And who knows? This sounds like it could be the last part. We're all crossing our fingers.
Yeah, since Sony's been like the kind of the third-party exclusive partner for Final Fantasy ever since Final Fantasy 15 or 16, and then 7 Remake, when that first started coming out, I remember like part 1 was exclusive for a while as well, and then it's just been fucking timed exclusivity ever since. And I don't know, yeah, Microsoft getting in on that now that Sony's gone, totally irrelevant. Like, they could try to steal that from Netflix, but that kind of goes against their consumer-friendly approach they've had for like ever. So I don't know, but it would be a good gift for Game Pass to have that, and Game Pass is still somewhat competing with Disney, even though they're playing nice with it. So
yeah, it's true. The crazy thing though about like the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I guess, series now, even though it's just one game, is like, remember like when after 5 they just went like full exclusive with Sony?
Yeah.
So like taking 10, imagine taking that and everyone who's played it this whole time has to play the finale on Xbox.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point, dude. They have to roll over. They won't be able to fucking actually play it on any other type of streaming service.
Yeah, like how would you come back from that? Like, you've been there for 10 of these games. It's been what, like 40 years?
I don't even know who can keep up with the story at this point, honestly. I mean, it's supposed to be Final Fantasy VII, but I don't know. I never played any of them. I don't care.
Yeah, it's literally a crazy, just absolute batshit insane thing. Like, I never got in. I was gonna play 1, but then they started announcing all the different parts.
They took 10 years between part 3 and 4. It made no sense.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. And I almost just want to see a tiny bit of the world burn, just like sometimes, just for them to grab that part 10 exclusivity. If
Microsoft actually does get exclusivity for Remake Part 10, I'll play it. I'll play it, and I'll play it with no context from the other 9 parts over the last few, like, however many decades. I'll play it, and then I'll give you my review of Part 10 and what I think about it over on the X Block.
All right. Well, now we're moving into our classic segment, Game Pass or Play. And now we're going to spin the wheel because it's the first of the month and we're going to see which game we're playing.
My favorite part of the show, Jaren. Here we go.
All right, here it goes.
Spin that wheel.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Ooh, Caleb.
Oh, God, what? No.
We're going back in time with this one.
Okay, retro. Got a big catalog here. Retro. Let's go. Like pre-2048 or what?
Yeah, dude, 2016.
Oh my God. That's so old.
Dude, I'm going to give you a guess. It's a Ubisoft game from 2016.
Oh my God. 2016 Ubisoft game. It's not Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Dude, we're playing Steep.
Steep? Oh no. The fucking snowboarding game? No.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it's about to get chilly in this bitch.
Remember when they just left it in Game Pass? I feel like everyone's just forgotten about it. I didn't even know this game still existed.
The mechanics, though, dude, are going to be so bad. Can you imagine? playing that shit? Like, you have to use a controller for that game, dog.
Dude, it's a wild experience. We're here for it, though. If you want to hear our review of Steep, make sure you come back the last week of August.
All right. I'm going to have to go find out how to play that fucking shit.
And now, lastly, we're moving in to the FAF. Now, in the FAF, for you guys that don't know, this is where we grab the news that is projected all on your screens, all over the place, but it just feels clickbaity, and you don't really want to watch it, or listen to it, or hell, read it. But goddamn, we're here to tell you about it in a fun and delightful way.
Amen.
So start us off, Caleb.
A new business venture.
A new business venture. EA enters real estate after large number of houses repossessed over microtransaction debt.
Okay, so trying to get in on the Nintendo bump here. EA going into real estate, huh? That's one way to pay off your debts, I guess.
They've seen all of the houses that they now own because people haven't been able to pay their microtransaction bills that their kids run up. And now they're just starting a new business venture.
Okay. I mean, that's a bold fucking strategy, man.
All right, Caleb, take us to the next one.
All right. The duty department, broken promises, deeper pockets.
Activision adds kill streaks into in-game loot boxes. Modern Warfare Remake Remastered will never be the same.
Okay. Fucking Activision being Activision, I suppose.
Yeah, dude, if you pull out your e-wallet and you pay $5, they drop a loot box to you right on the spot in-game. And now sometimes it just has a kill streak in it.
That's not how kill streaks work.
Yeah, dude, but you don't have to rename them if you just own the game.
I guess so, man. Fucking, how are they still a company? How are they still a publisher, Jared?
Dude, who knows? It's just like all these little publishers still exist out there, but the big dogs have kind of just moved on. But it's Call of Duty's got its hardcore brainwashed audience that have always been there with it. Dude, it's just like, fuck Activision.
Fuck Activision, man. I think we named an episode that one time, man. They fucking blow.
Yeah, dude, they're terrible. All right, Caleb, hit us with the last one.
The last one, a FAF OG returns. God.
Dude, do you remember Marvel Avengers?
That was like the movie series? Yeah, that was pretty big.
Dude,
yeah.
The game.
It was a game?
Yeah, the very start of the FAF. Every week they were in there.
You mean Square Enix's game?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Fucking.
Dude, they have finally added Spider-Man amid Disney's pressure since buying Sony.
They did, dude? What?
It's only 29 years late.
That's gotta be the most late delivery promise fulfilled ever in gaming. Right here on the FAF.
Yeah, and that is the end of the FAF.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're looking forward to playing Spider-Man on your old ass machines, man, in fucking Marvel's Avengers, I don't know how that's operational, but go try it out.
That is the end of this episode of the X Block, a special episode, the news from the future.
Yeah, so if you want to, you guys know, if you want to visit us over at, patreon.com/xblockpodcast, it's our old URL, but it leads to the Patreon again website. So if you go to Patreon again, you visit us there, you'll see we have like 88,000 patrons at this point. And if you want to be 88,001 and throw us a couple of e-dollars, go ahead and throw us some e-dollars over there and support the #1 Xbox podcast in the galaxy.
And if you'd like a blast from the past, go over and follow us on Twitter at xblockpodcast and Instagram at xblockpodcast, because we started those platforms up and we just keep running them because it's fun.
Yeah, and any of your favorite podcast services, the #1 fucking source of media news that persists to this day. Go to any of your favorite podcast services and you'll find us there. We are the X Block Podcast. That's it.
X Block out.
Thanks for listening to the X Block. New episodes every Monday at 5 a.m.